Greetings, parents. Welcome to Back to School Night for 2020. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Mr. Bates, and I will be your students' intrepid guide this year, either to the world of AP Physics, Aerospace Engineering, or Multivariable Calculus. So as I'm going to be working very closely with your students, and maybe with some of you over the course of this year, I thought it fitting for you to know a little bit about me. I myself am the product of MCPS. I graduated from Blair all the way back in 2001. I then attended MIT, where I got a bachelor's degree in physics. More recently, I have a master's in education from UMUC. After MIT, I spent about 3.5 years working at Boeing on autonomous helicopters, on specifically the A160 Hummingbird. I really enjoyed that, but I had always wanted to cook. I loved cooking. So I then spent a year and a half or so, 2.5 years, working in various restaurants in Los Angeles and in DC. I got to actually work at Minibar for about a year, which is Jose Andres' flagship restaurant downtown. And then cooking was great, but I actually occasionally wanted to spend time with my family. So I decided, well, what's something that's going to be similarly active, keep me on my feet, be a little bit more intellectual, and that brought me to teaching. I'm now in my 7th year here teaching at Wheaton, and honestly, I love it. There's no school in MCPS I'd rather be at. In addition to the 3 courses that I teach, I am also the coach of our Science Bowl team, which in 2018 were the regional champions. We defeated a field of 48 other teams from the DC and Maryland area, and went on to represent our region. We got an all expenses paid trip like 4 miles down Connecticut Avenue to the 4-H Center, which was awesome. So Science Bowl is really, really, really great. In my spare time, and I don't even really know what that means anymore, but in my spare time, I still love cooking. I love singing in a local choir, and I also love playing games. My now 6-year-old and I play a lot of Magic the Gathering, if any of you used to play that back in the day, or maybe still do. We play all the time. And so with that, we're going to get on to the meat of what makes each course unique. Before we get onto that, I do want to mention one thing, though. For all of your courses, please make sure your student, and you, if that's applicable, are checking My MCPS. Although we do use other web pages, at times we will have other things. Everything will be linked on My MCPS. All of their task list, everything that they need to do for every week, all weekly assignments will be linkable and findable through My MCPS. So for aerospace engineering, there's a couple of major things that I want to highlight. The first is that in most years, this is a heavy project class. We try to spend as much time building as we can, building gliders, building water rockets, building all kinds of things. Obviously, under the circumstances, there's a little bit of a question mark on that, but we're still going to really try to find the fun and try to figure out what we can do in this class that's as engaging and as hands-on as possible under the circumstances. There's a specific policy that I do want to highlight, and generally speaking, for any of these policies, you can always check the syllabus for more detail. But there's one specific policy I did want to highlight, which is that I grade in this class for most assignments based on mastery. And what does that mean? Well, first of all, when I say mastery, this is a specific policy that I apply to all of our formative assignments. So I don't mean quizzes or tests or projects, but I mean our typical everyday classroom assignments. So, as an example, they're turning in, assignment 1.2.3 right now, which is all about the center of gravity of aircraft. So let's say that your student turns in 1.2.3 and gets a 7 out of 10. It's not actually worth 10 points, but we'll just go with that. If they get a 7 out of 10, I'll grade it and send it back to them. And they have an opportunity to redo it. Let's say they redo it. They fix some stuff, but not all of it, and they get a 9 out of 10. In this class, you can keep going. You could resubmit it a second time and get a 10 out of 10. Because, as I like to joke with my students, nobody wants a plane that 70% flies or 90% flies. You want it to 100% fly. So the idea is that you can actually redo these formative assignments as often as possible until you achieve mastery. Now, obviously, there's a balancing act there. Having to do every assignment 2 or 3 additional times really will wear on a student. So there is still incentive to do it right early on and to fix it properly. But what this does is it gives an opportunity to redo these assignments. Now, there are some details to that as to be found in the syllabus about how it interacts with late work and all that other stuff. But the basic idea that I want you to get through, to you and to your students, is that it's not too late, and that if they need to redo assignments, they can redo assignments, and they can keep fixing them and asking me questions until they get them right. So in any case, I'm really looking forward to this class. This class is one of the most fun classes I think we have here at Wheaton. If there's ever a class that's out in the courtyard breaking things, or launching rockets onto the school or the roof by accident, that's this class. So I'm really looking forward to being able to get back to that. And in the meantime, we're going to make the best of it.